Hello, and welcome to Candidates Upfront, a public interest election program of Berks Community Television and the League of Women Voters of Berks County. Our November 7th general election is coming up. Citizens who are 18 or older will vote for judges, school directors, and township, borough, and city officials. The deadline to register to vote is October 23rd. To check your voting status, go to vote.pa.gov. That's vote.pa.gov. You can register, change your party, locate your polling place, or apply for an absentee or mail-in ballot. And the deadline to apply for those is October 31st. If you are looking for information on statewide, school, or township races or borough officials, please use the League's online voters guide, vote411.org. That's vote411.org. And for information on countywide and Reading candidates, please stay tuned. The League interviewed candidates in contested races, those who wanted to be interviewed, and for each race, the candidates got the same basic questions and had the same amount of time to answer them. For the League, I'm Judith Cranus, and let's begin.
Hello, I'm Kay Herring, a member of the League. 6 candidates are competing to be Reading School Director. They are Democratic Sheikha Jarira Del Rio Gonzalez, Noeline Betts, Melissa Eggert, Julio C. Martinez, Mark Detterline, and Republican Sarah N. Torres Vieira. You may vote for 5 of those 6 people. School directors govern the school district. They set policy, establish curricula, adopt a budget, and determine the tax rate that is necessary to support that. They select the superintendent and approve appointments of staff. About half the board is elected at each municipal election. They serve part-time and are not paid for their work. The term is 4 years. Each candidate's views of their own and not those of the League or BCTV. Today's interview is with Julio Martinez. He also goes by Leo. Welcome, Julio.
Thank you for having me.
And if you could start out by introducing yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself and why are you running for school director?
My name is Julio C. Martinez. Everybody in the community knows me by Leo. I'm married, have a daughter and a son, and I have 3 grandkids. I have 2 and one on the way. The reason why I'm running is because this will be my 3rd term that I'm running for, so I'm already serving 8 years. There's a lot of work to be done yet, so I want to see it through. So I believe that if I'm elected, we can get the job done, whatever is needed to be done. And also, I've been living here in Reading over 50 years, so I know the community well. And I believe that by me running for this 3rd term, I can help the community even more.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Tell us maybe a little bit about your background and how that has prepared you to be a school director. And then if you have had experience, you of course just talked that you've been on the board for 8 years. But in that experience on boards, how does that help you to make budget and policy decisions?
Well, being a school board director or being on any kind of board, it is a serious job. It's not for the faint or the lighthearted. As you know, we have over 17,000 students in the Reading School District. So to be running for the school board or any board, you have to be serious. It's a serious job, and we need serious people on any boards.
What do you feel are the top needs of the Reading School District?
Well, we need to hire more teachers, and we're trying to do the best that we can with that. And also our kids' education. Those are 2 top priorities that we need to cover in the years to come.
This question is a little long, but how will you address the different needs of all students? There are topics like English as a second language, special education, low-income students, different ethnicities, race and gender equity.
Well, first of all, we all need to get in the same bus. You know, all students matter, regardless of their ethnicity, race, gender. They all matter. We need to make sure that every student gets educated, whether it's in their language, whether it's in Spanish, or whatever language there is. Every student needs and it needs to be educated in their own language if we can make that possible.
And any thoughts on special education or low income, different ways that we can treat or help students in those categories?
Well, I think we just got to make sure that all the students have the resources that they need, whether it's free food. Again, we've given them free education, and just to make sure that whatever problems arise within their families or within our students, to make sure that we give them the proper resources and the proper help.
Great. What are your views on how social studies and language arts are taught in our schools? Should we ban or restrict books or speakers in response to parents that might object to certain resources?
Well, first of all, before we invite any speakers or any books that might bring some controversy, the administrators, the Reading School District, should be able to, on the speaker specifically, run a background check. What are they going to talk about? What are their views? What are their policies? What are they thinking? And of course, we have to listen to the parents, to their objections, to what they think is right or wrong with a book or a speaker. So I think everything has to be a case by case, but I think the administrators, superintendent, they need to be on top of that. And of course, the school board.
And your views on educator salaries and benefits?
That is a serious one. In my mind, and I've discussed this with others, my viewpoint is, when is enough enough? Whether it's for teachers, whether it's for cabinet members, the superintendent, when is enough enough? We got to make sure that our kids are educated, that the teachers get their proper salary, that the teachers get all the resources that they need before we start handing out outrageous salaries just because other school districts are giving their educators and their teachers these outrageous salaries because they want them in their district. So I think we need to check balances as far as salaries and how much pay for the educators and teachers and cabinet members as a whole.
And how would you deal with the teacher shortage?
Well, right now the school district is dealing with that. They're interviewing a lot of candidates. There are bonuses involved, and of course we're telling the teachers, in my mind, that Reading School District is a great district to work for. There's a lot of pluses to our district. So we're doing the hiring. We're doing the interviewing. It is up to the folks that are being interviewed if they would like to work, for us or not.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about funding. Pennsylvania's Commonwealth Court recently ruled that the state's current formula for funding schools is discriminatory and inadequate. Reading, as one of the most underfunded schools in the state, will hopefully get additional funds from the state budget. What do you think is the most important thing to spend that money on?
The education of our children. And make sure that they get the resources that they need, the right curriculum that they need, that our kids are prepared for college or trade schools. We need to make sure that our kids are ready for the future, and also some of that money could be spent on buildings. We have a lot of buildings that need some repairs, and we are in the process of doing all that. But I believe education and also the hiring of more teachers.
Then, in talking about curriculum and what students are learning at all levels, would you advocate for any changes in the current curriculum? And that could either be for adding or subtracting programs or subjects.
That one I'm not too sure about, so I can't give you a clear answer. But if it would come across the board, of course, we would talk about it and see if there's anything, something that needs to be added. And usually, is the superintendents that will present to us some of the changes in the curriculum, some of the things that they want to add, because some of the other stuff is inadequate, and bringing in some new stuff. And then we vote on it after they explain to us why they're changing that particular curriculum or taken away.
And what is your view of school choice? There's actually a number of questions here. Let me get them all out, and then if we have to
Sure.
come back to them, because it's a complicated subject. School choice. Should it be within the traditional public school? Should there be public or private charter schools? And should charters be publicly funded with tax credits or vouchers? That's a lot of questions. So how do you feel in general about school choice? And tell us a little bit about what you know about it and what you've seen.
Well, it's always a parent's choice where they want to send their children to school. My children went to Northeast, went to 13th and Green, went to Reading High, went to OTAC. So they went through the traditional school, the Reading School District. Some parents might decide that they want to send their kid to the private school. Of course, they'll pay for it. As far as charter schools, the school district paying for a charter school, I am against that. I am against charter schools. If you want to send your kid to a private school, then you should fund your child. You should pay for it. We went through this years back, with charter schools, and it wasn't easy, but we had to close the school down. I believe in some cases charter schools are great, and charter schools can help the district if they're educating and they're doing the right things for the students.
But you would think that they should not be funded, whether it's with tax credits or vouchers?
No.
Okay. Okay, I think we talked about that subject. How about, are there other issues that you think the school board needs to address?
Well, right now we are going through a process of hiring a new principal for the Reading High School. I believe that we're going to hire the right person. And one of the things, with the question, some of the things that we need to, some of the issues, we need to keep the teachers that we have. We can't be losing teachers all the time to other districts. I know people make choices, whether they're moving from the district or better pay. And again, it is your choice. But I believe we need to do everything that we can to keep those teachers that are working for us right now, and teachers that have been giving a lot of their years working for the district, teaching in the district. Some of the teachers working for us 20, 25, 30 years. That says a lot of them. And we have some teachers that work for us a year, 2 years, and they're gone. So we need to address that and try to keep the teachers that we have on board working for the district.
What about issues of safety, whether it's at the schools, right outside the schools? Are there other things that you can influence in this position to make it safer?
Well, right now, what we are going through is we're discussing the possibility of arming the police officers that we have in the school, at the Reading High School District, the Reading High School. We have about 5, 6 officers that if we vote yes or no, will be armed or not armed at Reading High School. Yes, we have metal detectors and we have other safety protocols in place. But in my opinion, again, this is only my opinion, I believe the officers need to be armed, not only to protect our children, but also to protect themselves because they themselves have families.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you want to talk about maybe some of the things that you would want to accomplish if you are elected? You've already been on the board for 8 years, you said, so obviously you are trying to sign up for another 4 years. What would you see as the biggest things that you could contribute during that time?
I want to make sure that parents are educated enough that they know that their kids not only are receiving a good education in the Reading School District, but the resources and programs that are out there for their children. You know, some parents might not know of scholarships for their kids to go to college. Parents might not know that there are trade schools that the kids can go to. You know, so we want to make sure that we prepare our children for the future. So I just want to make sure that one of the things for me is that the parents are well educated in that forum. That there is more out there than just your child getting a diploma and that's it, and they have no idea what they're going to do for the future.
Maybe tell us a little bit more about yourself. If you do any volunteer work, are you involved in any other organizations in the community?
Well, right now I work for the Olivet Boys and Girls Club. So through them and representing them, I belong to a few boards and a few committees throughout the city. One committee in the hospital, also in the 18th Ward, I'm in a committee in the 18th Ward. I also belong to the Hispanic Pastors Board, and also in the Centro Hispano Board. And also I, in my after work through the Olivets, I coach baseball for the children of the city of Reading.
Great. And is there any other, you can make a closing statement, is there anything else that you would want the voters to know about yourself?
I just want the voters to know that I've dedicated 8 years of my life to serving the city and the capacity of being a school board director. And I do it out of love. I do it out of respect. And I do it knowing that the children and also the parents of the city need me there. So I'm running for a third term. If I finish, it'll be 12 years serving the community. And that's what it's all about, serving in the community, serving the children of this great city of Reading.
Well, thank you, Leo. This has been an interview with Julio Martinez, goes by Leo. But thank you for sharing your views with us. I'm going to read off the 6 candidates. Julio is just one of the 6 that are running for school district in Reading, and you may vote for 5. They are Sheikha Yarira Del Rio Gonzalez, Noeline Betts, Melissa Eggert, Julio Martinez, who you just heard from, Mark Detterline, and Republican Sarah N. Torres Vieira. You will find candidates' upfront interviews on BCTV and its website and YouTube page. For more information on all candidates, you can go to the League's online voters guide. You type in vote411.org. And you can also contact the Berks County Election Services, 610-478-6490. If you do look up vote411.org, what you have to do is put in your address, and it will show you and everyone on your particular ballot that is running in your area, and along with the information that the candidates have provided to the league. Vote411.org is safe. It does not store your address, and it's a way that you can be prepared when you vote. Thank you very much for watching Candidates Up Front. I'm Kay Herring. Have a good day.